which is subdivision entry and perimeter walls and entry monuments are not required to be of any specific height or style, but are subject to review and approval by the planning board prior to their start of construction. So this fulfills that. We also have the applicant, the engineer who submitted the permit, is here today, and she's available to answer any questions you have.
Perfect. So more discussion and take it from there. Anybody have any concerns at the?
Well, I thought it was very attractive, so I didn't have any problems with it. Yeah.
Meets DOT requirement setbacks.
Not in the side triangle where you don't have any issues with that. I saw.
Emergency egress, ingress requirements met.
It's a good question. I don't know how that is handled with gates. Maybe.
Do I have like a Yelp?
Yeah, there's something that the fire departments and the
Correct. Yeah.
Travis used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, the fire department will need the code to that gate. Pertinently, we have some language about gates being inspected by the town every year. Get rid of, because that's typically HOA maintenance responsibility and or a public safety issue with police and fire. It's not as important that town planning staff inspect private gates. What is important is that public safety officials can get in and out of there.
I
So-
thought there was something that they put on the gate that,
They do like,
It's either Knox box or Knox lock of some
yeah,
sort.
Knox
Yeah.
locks. That's what I was trying to.
Yep, a Knox lock is basically a master key, so any fire department can get in the gate.
is this a Knox locks or a Yelp? A Yelp, they just blast the siren
Yeah,
and it opens up.
Specifically, that hasn't been determined yet, but it obviously will have a mechanism on it for emergency services.
Okay. Normally I'd have a concern on a turnaround. Someone pulls in, they're in the wrong place, gate doesn't open, there'd be a turnaround, but the fact, this is at the end of the road, all the way down at the end, and it's a dead end road, and there's only, I'm guessing, 12 lots in there and maybe 6 homes are built on them or something like that. So I don't think it's a major issue. So,
Yeah, I would think if you got that far, you should know that you're supposed to be going in there. There's plenty of place to turn around there. And for where the second car is, if you were just going the wrong way.
Well, I think it looks great, actually. Design wise and simple, but chic. Very nice.
so is this informational, Greg, or is a motion needed for approval?
We would get a motion for this, though again, this is fairly procedural.
Does staff have any questions or concerns not addressed?
None that need to be addressed. The previous staff concern that we had about this was absolutely clarifying that Abelia Drive is private because Old Mill Road, which is connected to this, is a public street, and then making sure that it was set far enough away from that public road so that it's outside of the right of way, and again, the ability to turn around at this dead end street. And I think the engineer has provided those additional documents.
Can we get verbiage on there to make sure that they do address the safety ingress egress?
Yes. What language?
Just making sure that it's on there.
Generally, it'd be either Yelp or a Knox lock, right?
I think that the sound one is better because if they have to get out of the truck and
Right.
pull the one off the key, I mean, we're talking minutes here, so.
I mean, yeah, for me personally, I would prefer a Yelp system.
And then I would note that one of the lots in this subdivision on the left-hand side of the gate is currently vacant. So worst case scenario, emergency vehicles can drive around this gate.
Well, actually, I don't think you could do a Knox locks because that's anytime a resident's coming in, they're gonna have to unlock the gate. This would be more
Well, they have
for like
keypads.
like my subdivision, there's a gravel road that connects in for access, but not everyday access. It's like Highgate, same thing. So in Knox locks, every time, this is the main gate, every time someone comes home, they gotta get out of their car and unlock it. So I think Yelp,
If he had.
Yeah, I think
oh,
it keeps-
that's right. All right, I sorry. It's right there. It jumped off the page at me. Yep.
See how we could, do you need a motion to have that?
We can make a motion and then you can put your recommendation, language in that motion. And we can move forward with that.
Why don't you let him make the motion with the language?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I would make a motion that we approve the entry for Abagalia
Abella.
subdivision under section D, 918J, fences and walls permitted within yard areas, with the amendment that they have a Yelp device installed for safety vehicles.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
This is way too easy on your first one.
Way too easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving to new business B, discussion and possible recommendation of text amendment 2025-04, section D 917AG, private roads and gatehouses, and section D 918, section I, screening and landscaping. I think I'm gonna just let Greg handle this one.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. I'll try not to overcomplicate this. We passed a bunch of text amendments in February. We addressed things like cul-de-sacs, tree protection, and road standards. We talked a lot about those. There were some revisions back and forth before it was ultimately adopted by the town council. We did get those adopted as recommended by this board, but there were just a few things that, not necessarily unintended consequences, but the items we referenced or the items we improved or the text we changed is referenced in more than one place, more than just, so for example, the cul-de-sac section talked about gates, things like that, but gates are referenced all over our code. And so we tried to catch most of those, but we were doing a bunch of text amendments at the same time, and some things weren't necessarily caught everywhere throughout the hundreds of pages of text. Bill notified staff that, hey, we changed them in these sections. We've adopted our new UDO and it's current on our website, but it may not be referenced in these other places. So the main example was berms, in that we reinstated that berms were an allowable design type for thoroughfare buffers, for example, the 100-foot thoroughfare buffer. But there was an obscure reference in screening. That's one of your sections up here, D918I, where it said berms may be used as screening, parentheses, for non-residential uses only. So we obviously intended it for it to be used in residential purposes to screen subdivisions. So that text needs to be amended. The other one's even more straightforward. Talking about private roads and gates. We're just getting rid of references. These are subsections B, C, and D that says town staff have to go inspect these every year. We've got a lot of other things on our plates. Tree ordinance itself is going to take a lot more enforcement. So this is de-emphasized in our code that we need to monitor private gates. These are private gates on private roads. As long as our emergency personnel can get in them, that's the priority. And so to ease burden on staff, both members of the planning board and staff agree that these references to inspections are not necessary. So we're just humbly asking you that, hey, I'm pretty sure we talked about this already. I'm pretty sure we all understood what we meant, but we may not have directly referenced these code sections when we passed the ordinance. And so for a legal technical standpoint, please read the text in your packet. If you all agree, we'll get that changed and update our ordinance with these slight modifications as well.
All right, thank you, Greg. That sounds pretty cut and dry. And reading through it, it seemed this one's the no-brainer for me.
Same stuff we took out last month or the month before, yeah. I'll make a motion to recommend text amendments as referenced in their new business 9B.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Unanimous again. Easy work, fellas and ladies. Easy work. All right, back to Greg with our update from the town planner.
Thank you. So town council met earlier this month. I'd say the major achievement was the approval of a conservation subdivision that was proposed by Classica near the water tower and the cell tower off of Hemby Road. So that's the largest subdivision approved to date. But thanks to its kind of unique shape and some clarifications on its design, a few amendments were added to that recommendation, but that was approved by our town council this month. The largest thing to look for that is going to be, we talked about thoroughfare buffering, how that has going to be shown on an area of land that's currently agricultural. So one of the conditions is they need to provide a full landscape plan. So everybody, when this subdivision is constructed, they have a good idea of what this is going to look like and what our expectations are. In regards to future events, we have a retreat planned for this month, and I believe all of you are invited to attend. So I would encourage you to do so and understand how our budgeting process works and what our future goals are as a town for the year 2025. In regards to this agenda, I appreciate your patience, as this was, intentionally a very light and easy meeting. One purpose for that is to acclimate our two new board members who we welcome to this group to make sure they have a smooth transition and before we get into the heavy hitting stuff, which our board does deal with quite a bit, including text amendments and the persistence of people trying to build subdivisions. And then I would just note that our town council has approved a couple developments, but the Deal Lake subdivision, which this board recommended in December, is pending a vote of town council. And that's probably the largest issue that's going to be up for a vote since I've been serving the town. So just
What does that do? What does that do? What is it on their schedule?
it's currently at its regularly scheduled time and date on the second Monday of April.
Oh, April.
But just if citizens or people are inquiring about it or asking about it, that's its current status. It's up for town council's discussion. Chronologically, we've got through all the other subdivisions before that one. But as far as future tasks or responsibilities of this board, the mayor's planning board subcommittee, which consists of Bill Dieter, Chris Falk, and Rusty Seltzer, met recently. We met recently regarding amending our UDO for the purposes of buildable or non-buildable land and clarifying those in all sections of code. So in essence, we want to make sure that development is clear about what they set aside for conservation and what is allowed on private property and protecting those ecologically sensitive areas, things like steep slopes, forested lands, ecological areas, et cetera. So this is a priority from council. I'm making sure that we prioritize what should be saved, what should be protected, and what is actually buildable, and where the roads, the cul-de-sac layouts, et cetera, are laid out. We had kind of attacked this in a floodplain scenario, but that is applicable to every private citizen in town and applicable to any lot. So we came to somewhat of a consensus that rather than have this impact every private landowner in Weddington, that we create a whole new section of code that deals with when you develop any type of subdivision, whether it's a conservation or a conventional subdivision. So we have additional rules, like it's 917B for conservation development. They have to do additional surveys or yield plans. We're looking to do something similar to that for any type of subdivision, including conventional subdivision. So again, Luna's referenced a lot. If a future Luna were to come up, they would have to do a lot more work up front in terms of showing their tree save, doing a survey, showing where the buildable land is appropriate or not appropriate, et cetera. So for the purposes of this meeting, we didn't want to include it, but that is task that we'll probably bring next month, a text amendment for your review and consideration. Lastly, I'd just like to address the Tom Waters conditional zoning amendment. That was before you last month, and you requested additional information. It was thought that this would be brought before you tonight, but he's working with his engineering group to provide the details you requested. So that was deferred to next month as well. So that could have been on our agenda for tonight, but they're still gathering the information that is needed. So keep a lookout for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. We'll move to board member comments. Anybody want to start first, or?
I will. I'm on. Well, the new members don't have it yet, but we got quite a few emails regarding citizen concerns about the Ray Road extension or the relocation of 84, depending on which document you're looking at. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't, yeah. Bill's always
I
fussing
didn't
at
say
me.
anything, Nancy.
I know, but I could feel it coming across the table there. So, yeah. So, I'd just like to address some of those concerns. A lot of them were the same. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. Before I do that, though, I wanted to say a little bit about the history of this. It was a dotted line on the map all the way back to 1991. And the reason that was on there is because when they widened Ray Road through Mecklenburg County, they used federal funding, part of the federal funding to do that. And in order to qualify for that, you have to have what they refer to as a logical terminus of the road. You can't have a 4-lane road T intersecting into another T-lane road. That's not logical. So they had to have it to keep moving through and to connect to another road. And that's how that original dotted line got on the map in 1991. And since that time, it's clearly gotten a lot more detail to it. I have personally been to at least 4 public meetings about it, and not to mention all the, I was going to say MUMPO, but I don't, what's the new, what is it?
CRPTO.
Yeah, whatever. But it's, anyway. And this project has appeared on every single regional planning document that has been put through our regional planning board, planning commission, and it's on our LARTP that we did. So it's, I feel like, been in the public domain for a very long time. And if you didn't know about it, maybe you ought to pay a little closer attention. I don't know. But all the messages seem to have a reoccurring theme. And but one thing I did notice is that a lot of them started with "we, the residents of Stratford and surrounding communities." And I'm thinking, are you speaking for the Homeowners Association of Stratford? No one signed it that way. So I was confused about that. And so some of the reoccurring concerns were it wasn't needed because we're only going to shave off 4.5 minutes of commuter time from going from Ray Road to coming through here. I don't know what the exact number is, but what I do know is that that road affects every single intersection that it crosses. I mean, starting from Providence Road, I mean, even down to Cox Road, you'll now be able to actually pull out of there. Antioch, Deal Road, in front of the schools, 12 Mile Creek, out of the church, and this intersection right here. It'll take a heavy load off of that. This intersection cannot be widened anymore. We have a traffic circle there, and there's no place to stack traffic, so it can't be widened anymore. So we do have to have an alternative route there. And they brought up the environmental impacts. The amount of money and time and effort and studies that the DOT has done on this particular piece of property is astounding. And as a taxpayer, I'm a little bit offended by that because they keep on and on and on. But anyway, I feel like it's been very thorough. There were some concerns about the infrastructure on Stratford. And I haven't seen the engineering and I'm not plans, but not even qualified to speak to that. But I will note that the plats that were approved for Stratford show that road, the future roadway, and protected the right of way through there. It is on the plat. So I guess in conclusion, what I'm saying is that this is a regional road. It's going to happen, but we as a town need to do everything that we can to help mitigate the negative impacts that it's going to have on the neighbors, because it will. I mean, I live on Providence Road, for heaven's sakes. So I'm very sensitive to that. And, but I do think it's an extremely necessary addition to our traffic pattern. But I don't want to cause anyone harm. So that's kind of all I had to say about that.
Well, thank you. A little history lesson there.
Yeah.
Scott, anything?
No, I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to work with y'all, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
You should tell a little bit about your history, how long you sat at this table.
So Nancy's predecessor actually appointed me to fulfill a partial planning board term, roughly 3 years. And when I rolled off that, I had about 3 months before Nancy appointed me to a partial planning board term for roughly another 3 years before I was appointed for a full term on planning board, and subsequently served for 4 years on town council.
So you're familiar with the table.
I am somewhat familiar with the table and the chairs, which have been here that long, I'm pretty sure.
No, these are kind of new.
Are they?
Well, not, these are different than the ones when you were on first on the planning board.
So, but yes, but a lot of what Nancy referenced in her comments, I have seen and been a part of too. The LARTP, the CRTPO, and if the town has the opportunity to play nice with NCDOT, it makes for a better relationship when you need things like stoplights and roundabouts and
Sidewalks.
interchange and improvements. So.
You mean like an Innes Road? Just saying, just throwing that out there.
Anyway, so I'm looking forward to being a part of the group.
Thanks, Scott. Amanda?
Chris and Rusty, congratulations. I think that you guys will do a phenomenal job. Both have lots of knowledge. And welcome to Steve and Scott. We're excited to work with you as well.
All right, well, yeah, welcome Scott and Steve. And congratulations, Chris. Steve, we'll talk about this later. And I'm glad to see everybody who came out tonight. Appreciate your participation. Thank you very much, and thank you to staff.
So I would just like to thank the council for their support on appointing me to the planning board. I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to working with all you folks. And Greg, I appreciate keeping it light on the first meeting. Maybe you can keep it light all the time. I don't know, that would be a good thing.
Keep it lighthearted.
So,
But
most we can hope for.
I would like, I heard Nancy's comments, and I would just like to say that road is going to be a major impact. And I don't know, this is my first meeting on the planning board, so I don't know the interaction the town has had with the NCDOT, but I would like to think that Weddington could be involved in planning the traffic signals at the intersections, maybe using masts instead of poles and wires, street names with the Weddington symbol on it. Something just to maybe beautify that a little bit more. I think we should, as the town, and probably not the planning board's role, but just to, like Scott said, keep a good relationship with the NCDOT. I understand that some of this stuff we'll probably have to pay for, but we should come up with some kind of standard for our intersections going into the future, especially with the building that's going to happen here. And, you know, a lot of that stuff we might be able to get the builders to pay for. You know, we won't have to pay for it. So just something to think about.
Well,
Going forward.
they did pay for all the plantings on Providence Road. We have to maintain them, but they paid for them and all trees that were coming up the hill. So they're all about having beautiful roads too.
Right. I'm
So-
just, if you look at some of the intersections here that we
Yes.
have in town with traffic lights and the poles are crooked like this and there's a million wires going all over the place.
Totally agree.
It would look much better if you look at some of these towns like Ballantyne, you know, everything is standard there. So not to say that, you know, we don't have a standard, but just something that we could think about.
We need to upgrade the standard.
Yeah. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep this very short. As Greg said, the subcommittee did work on, I call it the buildable area text amendment. We met at my house for 3 hours. It was a subcommittee and Greg was there. I thought it went much, much better than I thought it would in terms of the complexity. I think we came up with a great plan and looking forward to seeing that at the next planning board meeting. I do have a question. Is the retreat agenda out or will one be coming out? Okay. And my last thing, kind of relating to Ray Road Extension, I'm assuming there'll be sidewalks on that, which I believe the town has to pay for. And then the only other question I have is I noticed when they planted the trees when Providence Road was put in, they're put on the side of the road versus I'd love to see them in the median. If that occurs on Ray Road, I would hope we could get those trees in the median.
I don't, they have, due to
I know
safety
a
concerns.
safety issue, but
Site
I've
issues.
driven all
Yeah.
over Mecklenburg County and you see it everywhere.
Mecklenburg, depending on where it is in Mecklenburg, they maintain their own roads, but they're not on NCDOT. So
Okay,
they've got a
well,
little
I think it's something worth investigating. That's all I have. Congratulations to our 2 new members.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to the 2 new members. Looking forward to having you a part of this. Congratulations, Rusty, on vice chair. We'll see how this all plays out.
Just me and you, mostly you.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the retreat and see if I think that's gonna be good for everybody. Kind of just see where everybody stands. And then getting back in the saddle next month with I'd say some substance on our agenda items. This is where. Appreciate staff, appreciate Greg. I'm looking forward to leaning on Greg a lot. I'll be in the chair here for sure. And looking forward to a new day. So with that, do we have an emotion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Oh. Step out of line here.